Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the late start and welcome to the virtual Thursdays Dire Literary Series. Tonight, my guest is Misty O'Hara, and let me tell you a little bit of something about her. And this is let's have fun with technology. Misty O'Hara is a vibrant novelist from Salt Lake City, and we'll get into that a little bit. Bringing her unique perspective to the literary world, husband of 31 years and a boyfriend of 7 years, Misty captures the essence of living life to the fullest. While her first novel, The Hundred Man Plan, is fictional, her writing is testimony of her vivacious spirit and love for the extraordinary. So, with that, we're going to turn it over to Misty, and Misty's going to read for us for a little bit.
Thank you so much, Timothy. I probably should just get into it. I'm just going to read you one of my favorite chapters. If you know anything about my book, it has 100 chapters, well, over 100 chapters, because every chapter is a man. So I'm just going to get on this. This is one of my favorite ones, and it's chapter 15, Schroeder. I sat at the bar of an upscale hotel waiting for a political candidate I was supposed to be interviewing. She was extremely late, or she was blowing me off. Probably the latter. I had already had too many drinks. The bartender called the cocktail Rum and Dumber, and I was definitely feeling it. Someone came in and sat two bar stools down from me. I turned to him, and something about him looked familiar. Hey, I know you. He kept his gaze forward and replied, Yeah, you probably do. Do you know me? I asked, trying to place him. He glanced at me, turned back, and said, Nope. I scooted over to the seat next to him and grabbed his chin to turn his face so I could see it. Hey, I exclaimed, you're that guy in the band. You play the keyboard. Are you here for a concert? How did I not know about your concert? I have your poster on my bedroom wall. I mean, I had your poster on my bedroom wall, obviously. I still don't have it in my room now. I'm not weird. Do I sound weird? I knew I sounded weird, but I didn't care. These drinks are delicious. It's a dumb runner or whatever they're called, but they're really strong. I love you. I mean, I love your music. I couldn't stop talking. King Kitty is my favorite song. My mind went blank on his name, but I recognized him from his band, Velvet Echo. My friends and I used to call you Schroeder because of your blonde hair and you play the piano, just like the character on Charlie Brown. At this, he turned to face me. Schroeder, he groaned. I nodded. Haven't you ever seen Charlie Brown? The comics or the TV specials? Lucy lays on Schroeder's piano while he plays. That's something I would do if I ever had the opportunity to. I could be like Lucy. You're a goofball, he said. You're more of an I Love Lucy than a Charlie Brown Lucy. I was not deterred. I kept running my mouth. Isn't there a movie where Michelle Pfeiffer's playing on a piano? What's that movie called? She's a lounge singer. I can't sing, but I could drape myself over a grand piano and kind of roll around. The Fabulous Baker Boys, he answers. Bingo, that's it. Did you seriously just say bingo? He asks, shaking his head. I didn't seriously say anything, I said, as seriously as I could muster. He tried to ignore me, but I was determined. I kept staring at him until it got really weird. He finally cracked up. At that, I declared victory and spun my bar stool around in circles. Don't do that, he grabbed my wrist. You'll puke, and then that will make me puke. Puke, I said. He thought for a second and said, Yeah, that's a strange word, isn't it? I agreed, and we tried to come up with a better sounding word than puke. We were unsuccessful. The bar didn't serve food, so he invited me up to his room to empty the minibar. Just the snacks, not the mini bottles, he said. I'd like for you to remain conscious. We pulled everything out of the little fridge and laid it on the bed. I told him we could pretend it's Halloween and this is our loot. We took turns choosing our favorite candy bars and snacks. Neither one of us wanted the black licorice, but we fought over the Cheetos. He won, and I called it unfair because he had the advantage of strong and dexterous fingers from all the keyboard playing. He laughed and threw the bag at me. Fine, you can have them, but fair warning, you'll get orange fingers. I searched through my purse and found what I was looking for. Chopsticks from the Chinese takeout I had a few days earlier. I opened the bag and began eating the Cheetos with my chopsticks. He saw this and burst out laughing. Lucy, you are something else. Schroeder, play me a song. He surprised me by playing Beethoven. I couldn't lay on his synthesizer, but I draped myself across the bench at the foot of the bed and enjoyed the private performance. After he finished, I pushed him aside and started playing Heart and Soul, the only song I knew how to play. He picked up the duet and sang the lyrics and couldn't stop laughing. All I'm going to say about that night is it was incredible. The following morning, over room service breakfast, he asked what I did for a living. When I told him I was a writer, his face fell. Please don't tell me this was all a setup and you're going to write an expose about my sex life. I'm a very private person, please. I assured him that I would not share any details about our tryst, and I never did, not even with my best friend, Danny. 7 months later, his band came out with a new single called Lucy. Everyone thought it was about LSD, but I knew the truth. That's how short they are. Every tryst she has with a different dude is short, and there's 100 of them.
That is awesome. So how many pages is the book then? We can do it. We can do the math.
So, well, not really, because some of the men are 1 page, some are more. I did do a chapter on she goes to Burning Man and has sex with 3 men, and that one's the longest chapter. It's probably about 6 pages, but there's a lot that are just 1 page.
So the total book is how many pages?
288.
So it's basically 2.88 pages per man.
Kind of, sort of, but there is
8, 7.
Right. There is a beginning, there's the aftermath, there's the ending. And so there's more than 100 chapters, but I would say between 1 and 2 pages per man.
I'm sure you hear this question all the time. How much of this is true? And did you experiment with 100 men?
I absolutely haven't even slept with 100 men, not even close. I'll tell you the quick story. It's actually pretty crazy. So the short story of my long story is I was monogamous with my husband for 19 years. My mom got ALS and died, and it really tore our family apart. And I kind of was acting out. I went to my husband of 19 years, who I've only slept with him, and said, I'm going to go have sex with 100 people. And he kind of, what? It came out of nowhere. He said, he's the greatest. He said to me, you do what you need to do to get over this. You just take me with you. And so we went out. I slowly and quickly found out that I cannot have sex with 100 men. I am not that girl. I told my husband, I'm just going to write a book about it instead. And my imagination is way better than actually sleeping with 100 men. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just not that girl. I am more polyamorous than that.
That's a great story. And your husband sounds like he's wonderful to be able to take you through this and allow you to do what you needed to do. But was there anything that like bubbled up from this, or did you feel any pangs of guilt, or was there something like beyond any of this?
I mean, obviously, I had been monogamous with my husband, and he was the only man I'd ever slept with, but I really didn't have guilt. I really was, my mom dying, it tore our family apart, and a lot of horrible things came from that. All of my siblings, I have 5 siblings. They all ended up getting divorced. My oldest brother committed suicide because of it. And everyone in my family, like they're all divorced except my husband and me, because he's the greatest. And, any other husband, rightfully so, would have thrown me out, said, get out. And, I just didn't care. A lot of the stories, obviously, I take from my life, my friends' lives of my sister, just girls talk about, things that they do. And I took their stories and I made them better. I made them more interesting. I made them funny. So this is what I mean. My imagination is way better than 100 chapters that says, I met a guy, he was really nice, we made out, we had sex, he took me home, which is probably how it would be.
Now, your friends probably, maybe you've sold 50 or so copies if they're based on their stories. Do they appreciate the exaggerated versions? Do they find it funny? Did anyone say, no, you can't use this?
Nobody said it, mainly because most of the stories that I've heard from them, they knew I was writing the book. They said, you can use it. Now, obviously I didn't get anything in writing, but these are my close friends. And a lot of times I would combine stories. I would change names. I would change situations a little bit. So it's almost like people go, is that my story? I couldn't tell. It seemed a little familiar. And I'm like, you're not the only girl in the world who a guy had sex with you and then came on your thigh 3 seconds in, so there's a lot of stories that probably could relate to a lot of women. And I don't think anyone has a specific story that hasn't happened to several women or men.
Paul has a question. Will this book finally let us men in on what women really want from a man, not just sexually, the whole picture?
Wow, Paul, I'm glad you asked that. It's so funny. Women get such a bad rap that men don't know what women want. But with men, it's easy. Men, I've heard the thing where people say he either has a hard on or he's hungry. So have sex with him and give him a sandwich, he's happy. And men are so easy that way. Absolutely not
I
true.
disagree because very often the sandwich is much more important.
Right. But if they've already eaten, you have sex with them. If they just came, you give them food. And that's what a lot of people say. But those two things I think are good. But the thing is, women just want a man to listen. It's so funny. There was a movie, White Men Can't Jump. You guys might be a little young, but it had Woody Harrelson in it. And his girlfriend kept saying, he said to her, she says, "I'm thirsty." And he's like, "Well, let me get up and go get you a drink of water." And she's like, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to get you some water." She's like, "No, I'm thirsty." He's like, "I know, I'm fixing it." She said, "No, I want you to say, how does it feel to be thirsty?" She was a little nutty, but women just want to be heard. They want the communication and they want a nice guy. That's it. I think that the communication, people talk about that. They just want to talk. They want you to talk to them. They want you to tell them everything. I ask my husband or boyfriend, "Tell me about your day." And they say, "Oh, I went to work and came home." And it's like, "No, well, what'd you do? Did you go to lunch? Did you talk to anyone?" We want detail. We want you to talk to us. Maybe it's just me, but I think a lot of women just want to talk and be heard.
Do you
And they
think men
want to talk.
can evolve to become better listeners and or better talkers and want the same thing and crave to be listened to?
Right. And you just want to have that relationship and talk. So, when you say to your person, man or woman, "How was your day?" And they say, "Fine." It's like, I'm trying to talk to you. Like, I want to be your best friend. I want to hear everything about your life. Tell me everything. At least that's how I am.
Is there anyone in any of your chapters in your book that is that perfect man? That's the listener and what is he like? And does he have other faults because of this?
I mean, most of her relationships, these one night love affairs, uh, she doesn't get to know them that well. There are a lot of men in there that are great and they're perfect, but it doesn't line up, maybe because of their age or their situation, or because of she's damaged and she has this plan that she's doing where she does want to sleep with 100 men, and there's a lot of really great guys in there, and there are so many great men out there, and she runs into a lot of them, and they are great. And every single man in this chapter has amazing things about him, even the dirt bags. One of the chapters is called "Married Lying Douchebag." That's his name. And it's a short chapter. And yeah, she doesn't want to sleep with any married men because then she becomes that woman who her husband left her for. And he lied to her. So he's married lying douchebag. And obviously he had things about him that were positive. Otherwise, she wouldn't have slept with him. So I think every man does have positive things about him, and she finds those things and uses it to her advantage.
Yeah, my friend was just talking about the same situation, finding out that someone that she had slept with was married and he was in the military, and you can actually get court-martialed for having an affair. So she called him Sweater Court-Martial. That was his name.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I didn't know they could get court-martialed for
You
that.
can.
Wow, they better be worth it. That's all I'm saying.
They better be good liars because they all seem to be out. Like if you've been to Annapolis, it's like a meat market there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Here in Utah, just a bunch of nice guys. They're just so nice. I love
So,
them all.
so is lying married douchebag the worst character in your book? Is there somebody worse? And who is the best? Like writing this, obviously you're not reflecting anyone real. Who was your favorite character to write? Like who did you just love?
So before she does her plan, before she comes up with it, she ends up sleeping with her husband's best friend. And he is the greatest guy. His name is Sam. And he's just perfect. He's been in love with her for 10 years. He's friends with her husband, but he always loved her. And he is perfect. He takes her out before, because he's leaving, he's moving to Australia for work. And he takes her out to kind of talk to her. And she finds out about the husband. She's getting drunk. And he takes her home and he takes care of her and he puts her to bed. And he's just the sweetest gentleman. And everyone loves Sam. He's the greatest. So obviously he's my favorite guy. He's based on all my favorite men in my life. But no, there's a lot of really great guys. There is There is a guy, chapter 5 is Ross. His name is Ross, and he's loaded. You know, he's one of her old bosses from years ago. He was kind of the one that got away, and he takes her in his private jet, takes her to New York City, spends a bunch of money on her. That's kind of a longer chapter. He's amazing, and he's perfect, and he's great, and he's hot, but he wants to have her be a kept woman, and he does not want her to have her own life. And she says, no, I can be your girlfriend. Like, you don't need to pay me. And he says, no, you need to be available to me. I will take care of everything. You need to quit your job. You can't have friends. And it's kind of like that. So he starts out really great. And then it turns into, he wants her to just be a kept woman, and she can't. She doesn't want to do it, but she would have been in a relationship with him. He's amazing. But then he kind of turned that on her and wanted her to kind of be his woman who just stays home and waits by the phone like it's 1950.
So, two-part question.
Sure.
In your book, The 100-Man Plan, how much percentage of it is romance and how much percentage of it is erotic?
Okay, so I call this cliterature, which is my favorite thing, because erotic, it kind of goes too deep. I kind of feel like you're just in, and then you have to hear about the throbbing purple penis going into the moist flower, and I hate that.
You write
so
bad
much.
erotica, you have to hear about that. You also have to hear about pencil eraser nipples too.
Oh my gosh. So I would say, I would say it's, oh my gosh, no one's ever asked me this. I would probably say more sex than romance, but not cringy. You know, when people talk about my book, they're like, I'm so glad, the ones who have read it, they say it's not cringy. And when I got my agent, he actually called me and he said, I really like your book because you told the line, but you pull back before the cringe. And I like that because I do not like cringy. I find myself move forwarding through the sex scenes, which is crazy because I'm not a prude. In some books, I just want to get back to it. So my people in my book, they're adults, they have sex. It does describe it, but it's how adults speak. So I really like that as well.
So that's good writing, not to cross the line, because a lot of people don't know how to write sex scenes.
Right.
So, all right. So part 2 of the question,
Mhm.
in a relationship or in your relationships, what is the percentage of romance? What is the ideal percentage between romance and erotica?
Okay, so my two guys, I love my guys. I mean, I have a very high sex drive for no reason. I don't know what my deal is. I do need a high amount of attention. So my husband's fantastic. We've been married 31 years. He's 50 years old. We can still go every day without help. He's freaking amazing. But when I did get my boyfriend, and when I did, I said, I'm not going to sleep with 100 men, but how about if I sleep with this guy 100 times instead? Because like I said, I'm more polyamorous than a swinger. And I do like relationships. So my husband was great. He's like, dude, take her off my hands. I need some time to rest and I need to heal. So I would say sex life, it's pretty high, but there is a lot of romance in my life. I mean, I demand it. I don't sit around and wait for my guys to bring me flowers and take me out to dinner. I jump on them and I say, where are we going for dinner? And what are we going to do tonight? So I think women a lot of times wait and they expect that and then they're disappointed. Whereas if you just take it and grab it, boys will pretty much do whatever you want. If you say to them, put on this tuxedo, we're going to dinner, I'm putting on this dress, you're taking me somewhere fancy, they're like, cool, tell me what time. And they're happy to do it. But if I sat around and waited for them to, how come you never think to put on a tux and take me to dinner? They'd be like, what are you talking about? It wouldn't even occur to me. And then women get disappointed and sad and they cry. So I think probably, I would say 70% sex, 30% romance. It's all combined. We have very romantic sex. I would say that.
So I guess my question is, have your husband and your boyfriend met? And then we'll talk a little bit more about literary stuff.
That's so funny that you say that. They absolutely have met. We live together, all three of us. We moved in together about 3 years ago. All of our kids are out of the house and we all live together. So we have 2 rooms. So I have a room with my husband and then I have a room with my boyfriend. And I just kind of go back and forth. And yeah, they're really good friends. They're both in IT. Apparently I have a type. They're both IT directors. And so, Yeah, they've met, they like each other, they get along. Um,
Do they do
they
bro things and leave you out?
Not a lot of times because there's not a lot of times where I'm gone, but definitely when I leave to go out of town, because I go out of town for work, my day job, I'm a recruiter and I travel. They get pizza and they kind of play video games and they do things like that, but they don't really go out. They just kind of stay at home and wait for me to get home. But they do like I call it the frat house when I'm not here. It's
Do,
hilarious.
do you have a certain time or headspace that you write in, especially a book like this? And was there anything that popped up unexpectedly as you were writing this book? In other words, what I'm saying is very often you hear, oh, the book took a life of its own. So did the book write itself? And also, did you have any unexpected feelings when writing this?
Yeah, so it took me 7 years to write. Now, as I was writing, I mean, when I started the book, I just did it in my spare time. And, I was married. I liked my husband. We still wanted to do date nights and stuff. It didn't take over my life. I was raising three kids. I had a full time job and I was in college full time. So, this is why it took 7 years. I did it when I had spare time. And the book did not write itself. It's hard to come up with 100 scenarios, but I did use my life. I used my life to kind of write the book. And then I just made it more interesting. And I'm really good at making things interesting that I think are boring. I will add spice to it.
Do you miss the character when the book was done?
I do miss them. However, the second book that I've already written that's ready to go, it is a continuation of the first book. So I was able to go back. That book only took me 3 years, but I was able to go back and revisit those characters. But they are like family. They're kind of like family where you miss them and you want more of them. It's like reading any book or seeing any movie. You want more and you want to know what happened to them. And I love that. And this is why I wrote the second book. I love seeing what happened to people. I love seeing their happy ending.
So some characters, just like in real life, like lying married douchebag, you kind of like you're done. You're off the page. You're out of here.
Right. And every single one of the 100 men are gone. I mean, 99 of them, they're gone and you never hear from them again. But that's life. I mean, you may run into them. She actually runs into him every so often, and it's a really positive thing. And but yeah, I mean, I don't think you run into people that often unless you live in a smaller town, which she doesn't.
The characters that you wrote based on the experiences you had in real life, as you were writing them, did you experience the same emotions? Like, were you angry at the one you were angry at? Were you excited by the one that excited you as you were writing it during the writing process?
Absolutely. It's so funny. It made me kind of, it's like reminiscing. It made me kind of miss these guys. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I wonder what he's doing. I need to reach out to him. That's no bueno. You don't want to be reaching out to past loves and people you've been with or liked. It's just that, that opens up a whole can of worms if you're not ready for that. But absolutely. I mean, all of the guys I've been with, all of my ex-boyfriends, I will always love them. I'll always hold a soft place in my heart for them and I love them. And um, most of my boyfriends and guys I've been with, it doesn't end badly. We've been friends, we stay friends. And I think mostly because I'm very attracted to nice guys and they're just really nice. And I do run into them every so often. And yeah, they want me back always. Of course.
So I think when we talked earlier this week, you said there was a special promotion that was going on for the book. It was I'm trying to remember if I heard it right, a reprint or it's being pushed or promoted by a famous, well-known organization.
Well, Hustler Hollywood actually,
I remembered it.
yes, they
Yeah.
were at my event last night and it blew my mind. I had no idea they were interested in my book. The Utah division of it, they said there are no women in Utah who write romance fiction.
Oh,
And
Utah.
they
Yeah, you could be the scourge of Utah right now.
absolutely, I am the queen of romance right now in literature. But they were ecstatic. They want to partner with me. It's a whole thing. So we're in talks. We're going to do a Valentine's Day event, and it's just going to be fun. I had no idea that there was such a shortage. I thought everyone was a writer, especially self-published. So I'm really excited to partner with Hustler Hollywood, and we'll see what happens with
The
them.
Hollywood end of it. So, are you in talks about production and doing? Because I think this would be a great movie maybe not my type of movie, but I could see this movie being really, really super, if done right, super popular, like super amazing. So are you in talks?
Well, I agree with you that it's going to be perfect. I, however, would say a Netflix series or a series on TV because, this movie, Her Sleeping with 100 Men, it would be a real quick 2 hours. My
100 episodes would be a great series.
Right. And you could do 2 men per episode or 1 man per episode. When I did find my agent, he is a literary agent and he actually went to college with somebody who works with Netflix. And so when he told me that, he's like, forget the book. He said, let's get it published, but I would love to get you in at Netflix because I think they would die for this. So it obviously takes years and years and years, but my agent is in talks with Netflix and I'm open to it. I love it. I would watch that show, especially if it was a quick half hour and you knew there was going to be, 100 men that she bangs.
Yeah, it's the perfect formula if you think about it. Like, look at 6 Feet Under. There was a death in every episode, and the episode was built around that.
Yes. And I love that. And I love that you've seen that best series finale ever. Did you see
Yeah.
the end? You remember they went through everyone's death, all of the main
Yeah, I thought
characters?
that was the greatest.
That's my favorite. It's the greatest. But yes, every episode at the beginning, someone died and you had no idea who they were and it didn't matter. And it's kind of like the man. She meets the men. It doesn't matter. She bangs him. You never see him again. And I think it'd be a fun, quick series. So yes.
All right, so hold up the book again. It's a wonderful cover. There it is, 100.
Panties and the shoes.
Fantastic. And you want to find out more, you can go to Misty O'Hara, no apostrophe.com. And it's all about her and about the book. And there's where you can buy it. And
You can send me notes.
exactly. And please don't send notes looking to be number 101 or anything. Certainly don't send pictures of your stuff.
I mean, maybe I want this. I need some material over here. I'm just kidding.
All right.
But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was a pleasure, and good luck with your book. It's definitely awesome.
Thank you so much. And I would love to come back, as the book sells more and more. And once Netflix signs that contract, I'm going to be like, I couldn't have done it without Timothy.
All right. Thanks so much. And
thanks, Jessica.